I'm so excited. Okay, so this is a big deal because, as you guys know, I wrote a book, okay, and it's called Do It Anyway, Girl. And I don't know anything about writing a book, but in the process of writing a book, I learned that you need an editor so that you don't put a book out into the world that's really bad. And so I ended up hiring one of the most amazing editors ever. And I'm bringing her on today because some of you might be like, oh man, I want to write a book. I don't know what to do. Like, oh, you just need to write a book and then get a good editor. So my good, not good, amazing. Like she's like a unicorn. She's here today and we're going to be talking about writing an international bestseller. And I want to welcome my friend, Lori Lynn. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Like when I talk about you, I say like Lori Lynn is like you like I look at your Facebook and you're like, today was so great. I read 84,000 words. I just love words. Like you love reading. You love editing. Like everything you see, you just see editing. It's your thing.
Yeah. It's one of those weird superpowers, I can't control it. It just kind of happens.
And I love that. It's just like everyone has their thing. I would not be a good editor. It makes me feel sick, but you love it. It's fantastic.
I do. And I love reading books. So it works, people pay me to read their books and correct them. And they're not annoyed by it. Like they actually like it.
That's so crazy. That's what I love about you. And she's so happy. Like I never understood when I would read someone's book, they would be like, there'd be this whole paragraph about their editor. And I was like, what? Why is that a big deal? Because I thought you would just write a book. You'd be like, editor, deal with it. Let me know when it's done. But it's not like that. It's like, oh, hey, editor. The editors find something and says, oh, hey, Michelle, I have a quick question. This one sentence seemed a little unclear. Could you just clarify? I want to just change it up a bit. Oh, okay. Let me write back. And it's like that for like months. And then you become best friends with your editor. You realize you talk to your editor more than like your husband. And so I understand.
I have a husband, but if I did, you're probably right.
I'm busy working. Like, I think there was days I may have talked to you more than I talked to my husband. Now I understand, but I just appreciate you so much because you took I did a few funny things you said. There was a funny things that I did in the book. I remember you saying, Michelle, when you write a book, this is a good tip for anybody. You can't do double spaces between the sentences. Because I did that.
Yeah.
You were like, just a heads up, it's one space. So for anyone who writes a book, don't do the, I type a sentence and I go, it's only one. And the other thing is I said and a lot. So you had to judge some ands around, which is your thing.
Yeah.
So tell everybody your
25% of your manuscript was and.
and actually like someone that read the first version was like, you use and a lot. And I was like, oh, like and is just the start of every sentence in my mind. Oh, and the next thing I'm going to share is and.
Right.
So tell everybody about your...
talking.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's the problem is I write like a talk, right? So and. So tell everybody your journey, your story. Like who is Lori Lynn? Because you're amazing and so awesome.
Aw, thanks. Well, first, I want to say that it's not a curse that you personally write like you talk, because actually is magic. We are used to hearing your voice. Those of us who follow you, we love. That's what attracts us to you. So we want you to sound like you talk in your writing, because then we hear you in our heads, right? We hear Michelle in our heads, and we love Michelle. So it's actually a gift that you write. The difference in reading and hearing is that you can pause, you can redirect, you can emphasize when you're speaking, but you have to translate that page, right? With bold and italics and white space and, repeating certain things or not repeating certain things. And when you're reading, you can go back and reread, but you can't do that when you're talking. You just have to clarify and, and repeat it. So you end up repeating a lot when you're talking. You don't want
I just lost you. Give me, I'm losing you. You're freezing on me. I don't know if it's on your end or mine. Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to check with the kids and make sure they're not all on the Wi-Fi real quick.
And I can move closer to my router too, if we want to try that.
You can keep talking. But am I blurry to you?
You've been nice and consistent, except I had a couple little hiccups and I was moving around thinking, well, maybe if I plug in my headphones into the computer, it'll fix that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the battery. I think it's actually, it might have been the connection.
Okay. I'm going to really quick see if they're on. Sometimes they're on and we have the Wi-Fi here is not perfect. Give me 1 sec.
While you do that, I might run
Yeah.
and just get closer to my Wi-Fi and see if
Okay.
that router and see if that helps too.
Okay. Give us 30 seconds. We'll be back. All right, I'm back. We were like feeling okay. I was clear. Okay, I didn't know if it was my end or what. So Lori is going to move a little bit closer to her Wi-Fi. If you're just joining us, it's Michelle. Obviously, it's Michelle. I just got these new banners and I'm getting them changed, but it says on the top of the screen, MichelleCunningham.com. Then it says my name, Michelle Cunningham. In the corner, it's Michelle Cunningham. And so if it wasn't clear to you that I'm Michelle Cunningham, I've made it very super clear. So I'm going to get that changed because it's a little loud. Oh, are you Michelle? Oh, you must be Michelle Cunningham. Is that right? Was it the banner at the top, the middle, or the bottom that kind of gave it away? So I'm going to fix that. But don't they look kind of cute? I had my designer put she does those together for me. And then you can add them to your StreamYard. So anyway, I'm here as Michelle Cunningham with my editor, Lori Lynn, who helped me edit my first ever book, Do It Anyway, Girl. First ever, but more to come because now I'm addicted to writing. My next book, I want to write the book called You Are a $1 Million Brand, and I'm going to teach people how to build $1 million brand just by being yourself. And I also want to write a book called Want to Hear a Funny Story? Because I have a lot of funny stories, I feel like, and it would be funny in a book. So it would really just be for people to feel happiness because I feel like sometimes people that watch the news or are not doing funny things every day, they get sad and they should read a funny book to be funny. So that's the next in the works. And Lori will be my editor. Why? Because she's just joy. She is so happy. She's so amazing. She's so professional. She's so awesome. And she literally picked up and caught, I think, every single error in this book. There was one we found the other day, but I don't even think it was an error. It was either it needed an S on the end or it didn't. I think it actually probably didn't because Lori's the wizard of editing. So, and this is available on Amazon. It is currently in paperback and it's also on ebook. And you can look it up, Do It Anyway Girl, or you can go to doitanyway.girl.com. She's back. See, a good editor always has books in their background. You're muted. She'll unmute. I just mailed you my book so you can add it to your stash behind you.
I wonder if it's...
Okay, you're good now.
I just saw some things come through. It might be... Do you want to do an unboxing? Is this yours?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. What if it's not? This could be awkward. But
it could be somebody else's book.
Yeah.
I need scissors. Hold up.
You gotta rip those things now.
Okay, don't run with scissors. Do not
do what Lori's doing. What if this isn't from me? Let's see. It's Friday.
Well, Friday. I can tell it's yours because I can see the pink through.
Good. This is so exciting. I can go on the bookshelf.
Are we ready for the unveiling?
I feel like I'm sending a famous person my book. Is there anything else? Check in the package. Is there anything else in there?
Is there more in there?
Maybe not. Well, it might come in a separate shipment. Nope, it'll come separately.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Look how beautiful.
Don't you like how it feels?
Beautiful. Yes, it feels so good. It feels so good. It does. Oh my God, I'm petting your face.
Isn't she adorable? That's what Catherine Andrews said. You're adorable. You are. I just love you because I feel like you're the biggest deal ever and you're just the sweetest thing. And I just appreciate so much like all that you did for me to make me not sound dumb.
Right. That's my job. I mean, honestly, like literally people ask me what I do and I'm like, well, I make influencers look as smart on the page as they sound from the stage.
I love that.
There you go.
I love that. Literally what you do.
It's so pretty.
Isn't it pretty?
I love it.
I like, we
love
use
it.
Moontime is my favorite font. So that anyway is in Moontime. And that's on the cover too. I know.
It's so precious.
It's so
It's
pretty.
got a nice spine. People say like, oh, I want to read a really short book. And I'm like, yeah, but you also want a spine. You want to have enough pages so that when you put it on the shelf, it doesn't get lost, right?
Oh, good point.
This is a wonderful book. It's called U Squared. It doesn't have a spine and it gets lost, right?
Oh.
It's like, I don't know where it is. It just disappears. But yours will not get lost. Yours will shine and be pink and bright and beautiful and say, look, do it anyway, girl. Michelle Cunningham. Isn't that wonderful?
It is. These are things I didn't really think about. But I was surprised my book was as thick as it was when it came. I was worried it was going to be skinny. Like I didn't really know. And then it came. I'm like, oh, this is legit. It actually looks like a book. Fears.
So, and white space. White space is important. So if you do have a short book, you want to have lots and lots of white space. Now, if you're in advertising, you understand what that means. But when it comes to books, that means that each one of these little paragraphs, like when you were going to school, when I was going to school, and we learned how to do the typing, and we were told to put 2 spaces at the end of each sentence because we didn't have word processing programs that naturally moved everything around and made it nice and uniform. So now that we're typing into laptops and smartphones and things like that, it naturally just automatically evens everything out. And the other thing is when we're reading, like, I don't know what I did with my phone, but we're reading on little devices. So a paragraph that we were told needed to be like 5 sentences, you put 5 sentences on a device and you have this wall of text, which is like super intimidating and no fun to read. Like, who wants to read that? But if you have these little bite-sized, manageable chunks, I liken it to like if you sit down to a meal, each one of those paragraphs is a bite. And if you put, this huge bite in your mouth and you're like sitting there trying to chew on it, it takes forever to try to like digest it, swallow it and actually like have it do something good in your body. So the beautiful thing about making these little short paragraphs is not only that you can read them really easily on a device, but also it gives your brain a break. There's like a scientific term for it, but I can't remember what it is. But it gives your brain a chance to like swallow the information and get ready for the next bite. It's so much more enjoyable. This is so much more enjoyable to read than like walls of text.
Yeah, it's true because I'm actually reading a book that has got walls of text right now and I feel tired. Like I love it, but I'm like, oh, okay, I got through that. Like, so what you're saying. Yeah, because I read, you edited Dan Henry's book, which is initially how I found you. It's a great book, you guys, Digital Millionaire Secrets. And I read that book. And what I love about it is, Dan Henry is a multi-millionaire, right? And he does incredibly well using funnels to build his business. But when I read his book, it was so easy to read and so digestible. And like, I loved that. And when he was like, this lady, Lori, he had a video with you on his Facebook page. I was with Lori and he was like with you at an event. And he's like, this is my editor. And I'm like, ooh, she might be out of my league, this lady. I'm going to message her anyway. Cause I didn't know there was nobody else. I don't even know how you find a book editor. And you were just
stalked Dan Henry.
I did. I was like, well, I'll find this Lori lady. So I stalk and find you online. And literally that's how we connected. And, but I liked how his book was written. And I was like, yeah, I could do something like that, which was easy. Like, easy is something I can do, but the second it becomes too big of a project, I'm like not interested in going there. So you made it so easy for me, which was amazing. Thanks. It was so amazing.
And hopefully fun. I know it's grueling.
Yeah. I think the easiest part, and I think it's a great message to share with people, is that the easiest part of a book is actually writing the book, right? Like, so I took a weekend and I said, okay, I knew I had to write 25,000 words to make a book. That's actually pretty good information. So if any of you are like, I want to write a book, 25,000 words or more. Minimum. Okay. And okay, that'll get you a spine. Is that the deal? I see. This is how rookie I am. All I knew was 25,000 or more. And I started writing it in a Google Doc. That's it. That's all I knew. So Google Doc, 25,000 words. So that was my first big chunk to accomplish. So for any of you that are like, I need to do that, what I would challenge you to do is tonight, write for an hour and see how many words you can come up with. Because I started writing with my kids running around me, and in 1 hour I did 1,000 words. And I'm no dummy, but I was like, okay, I just need 24 more hours. Great. There's 24 hours in this upcoming weekend. I could crank this out, which is essentially what I did. Instead of writing and then rereading and writing and rereading and forgetting, I said, I'm going to just have to write it all at once because otherwise I'll forget what I wrote. So that's what I did. I wrote it all in a weekend, and then I hired you and said, hi, I just, can you make sure I don't sound dumb? And so, I think that's the biggest secret, but hiring an editor, that's when it became kind of a process. We're like, wait, you read through it how many times? That was mind blowing to me.
So many times, at least a minimum half a dozen times.
And that's normal with every book.
Yeah.
You go back and forth and back and forth. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I tell people, writing is actually, publishing a book is pre-writing, writing, revising, editing, publishing. That's the process. So you did your pre-writing in that weekend, and then we work on the writing, and then we revise and we revise and revise, and then we edit. So that's when we do the proofreading and all of the, the minutia. That's like when we make every single word count. Every single line flows into the next one. It has this nice cohesive flow, and then we can publish it. So yeah, it is a process, and it can be grueling, but I mean, if you're in for the ride and you're with someone you enjoy, it can totally rock your world, and you can get addicted to it.
Yeah. And you are so lovable. I just, people are saying she loves words. I'm like, that you love what you do, and you're always happy. Every day we're happy. You're like, I'm reading your book. I'm so happy. I'm like, you are so happy. I love you. And I just, you'll make kind of a very mundane process, really happy and super exciting. So every time I got a message from you, I was excited. I'm like, oh, it's my Lori lady. Okay, what's going on, Lori? Which was so cool. And I just appreciate that, because I'd imagine not every editor is like you.
I don't know anybody like me, to be honest. But yeah, most editors will actually want to take your words and sort of make them their own. So editors get a bad rap. There are a few of us unicorns who are like, all right, let's amplify your voice. This is going to have your name on it, right? My name is not right here. My name is not here. My name's somewhere in here, right? It's got a nice little paragraph around it, but this is your book with your name. Yeah. So I'm not trying to make this my book. I'm trying to take your message and your words, and I'm trying to make them super clear so that someone who picks up this book goes, oh my gosh, this is so easy to read. Oh my gosh, I love these stories. Oh my gosh, I can't put this down. And then 2 hours later, they're pounding out on Amazon, oh my God, I read this book and it was so amazing. And you have to get this book and blah, 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 and 5-star reviews. That's the goal. But oftentimes what you'll see is editors are like, no, you need to phrase this way, and we've got to move this over here. And I tell my authors that I'm actually like a barometer, I tell you what I feel like the temperature is in the room, and then you're the thermostat. You read the temperature, and then you get to decide, are we going to turn it up? Are we going to turn it down? Because occasionally, for example, years ago, I was editing a book for a girlfriend of mine. She was writing a book called My Intentional Life. And she was a professional organizer. And I was reading a chapter, and I said, Sherry, I feel like you're yelling at me. And she goes, oh, oddly enough, I was yelling at I was frustrated with my stepdaughter this morning, trying to get her out of the house for school. And I sat down as soon as she left and wrote this chapter. And, obviously that energy was there. I'll go back and fix it. So there's another element of that superpower of I feel the tone and the energy, and then I can come back to you and go, were you intending to do this? Because if you were, let's amp it up. But if you weren't, let's tone it down. And then you get to decide. Totally up to you.
Yeah. And that's what I noticed. Can you tell me your website? There's a bunch of people asking for your information. I was going to put it on here.
Mostly just find me on Facebook right now. I'm in the middle, right? I just got off of a call with my website building team. And so our website's in the works, but for now, just find me at, so if you go to facebook.com/Hey Lori Lynn, that's where you can find my reviews and, quotes from books that I'm working on and things like that. And I'm also like, you could find me on just regular Facebook with like,
Yeah.
My personal profile or whatever. But yeah, that's where I've got, I'm featuring my authors on the Hey Lori Lynn Facebook page. And then I have a podcast called Rise and Climb. And I've been interviewing authors on that as well. So Rise and Climb with Lori Lynn, or go to Facebook and do / Hey Lori Lynn.
Cool. That's your podcast. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I really did appreciate that about you, just bringing it back to what you were just saying. Like, at no point were you like, hey, I completely just rewrote this paragraph. It was always like, hey, Michelle, this paragraph, I was thinking you could probably change this up a little bit. I did a few different words in there. Tell me which one feels the best to you. And I was like, part of me was like, can't you just do it? But it was never like that. Like, it was like, what would you say, Michelle? Or here you didn't expand enough about your emotion in that, when you grew up poor, how did that make you feel? And I remember you were like, tell us how you felt being poor. And I'm like, well, I felt like broken, less than everyone, and so we put that paragraph in there, but it added so much more like imagery to like my childhood, like I was poor. And like people say when they read that now, they cry in that paragraph. So like just those little things that you did, like really crazy and powerful. But yeah, I really did appreciate that at no point did you ever make me feel dumb. And I don't know. You've inspired me to believe that I can write another book and I should write more. And so now I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then you can edit the next one. And then Lori is so connected to books, you guys. Like, if you're like, I need someone that knows the industry, she's an incredible sounding board. So she connected me to the person that formats the book. You actually hire someone to like format the inside and put the bullet points and put, I'm like, oh, that's a thing. So she connected me to that person. And she's got incredible professional people that know everything. No matter what you want to accomplish, she's connected. So that's what's so cool. Tell us like, how do you become a book editor and what's your life like? Like we're like a family here. We need to know, like, do you have kids? What's your life? And how'd you become a book editor?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom. And the path is windy. And one of the reasons I started the podcast was because people who are on the entrepreneurial journey don't necessarily have like a track. There's not like a track to become a book editor. For me, it was, I read lots of books. So the majority of the books that are like displayed behind me, I actually have another bookcase to my right. There's a bookcase in my bedroom. There's a floor to ceiling bookcase in my kitchen, 2, huge shelves. I've been homeschooling for 16 years. And the majority of what we do is read books out loud. So I have immersed myself in books since I could read, and I could read at an early age. Now, my son didn't start reading fluently until he was like 10 years old. So I was a little shocked, but he reads, he absorbs information around him mostly through his ears, right? He's a very auditory person. So that worked out well because I was reading out loud and he was listening. And so you could ask him, what are your favorite books? And he has like half a dozen. He's like, I don't know. What genre do you like? And I love this one and that one. So for me, the path to becoming a book editor started, oddly enough, when I was like 6 years old and my family moved from New Jersey to Kentucky. And I had a pen pal named Jennifer, and she would write me letters and I would correct them and send them back.
That's fantastic.
And no one told me this was a bad idea or that I'd probably lose friends over it. But I also noticed a few years ago, as I was digging through some old things that my mom had given me from the house that they moved out of, that even as early as like kindergarten and first grade, when we were writing our little vocabulary words, I was putting in little hooks, like little sideways, like V's, and they were commas. I was putting commas in between my vocabulary words, and my teacher was circling them like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know, but they're in the books that I'm reading, So I've just always had a sense for if I'm reading a book, let's say it's a fiction novel, I'm paying attention to whenever a character is speaking and then another character moves, you have a new paragraph. So it's kind of like a camera where you're like, okay, I'm listening to this person. Now I'm going to switch and listen to this person. And my brain logs that information. And then when I have authors come to me, I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of like if you're watching a movie and the character does something and then the other character does something and then you have to move, you have to change your focus. So it's like, the camera has to switch the angle and they're like, okay, yeah, so just add a new paragraph. And I'm like, yeah, add a new paragraph every time somebody talks.
That's just so great. Like, yeah, you just know all these things that like the average non-book writer just doesn't know. Like, I just really, yeah. And I love that you have been doing this since you were 6. Like, don't you guys love her? She's just like the book lady. I actually write about her. I write about you in my new funny book because you are just you're such a joy.
Dying. You sent that to me and I was laughing so hard.
I paint Lori as this like, I make her like, I'm like, she likes books so much that she could have like a Broadway musical where she's like, oh, I'm an editor. And she's like in a cheerleading thing and her kids are with her. She loves books. And if you guys, I just highly recommend her. I really, if you know someone that wants to write a book or someone that's thinking about it, how about this? I know someone that wants to write a children's book. Do you help with that? Is that a thing that needs an editor?
Every book needs an editor.
Okay.
Every single book needs an editor. Yes, we can help with the editing piece. Children's books are a different animal, so I could connect you to someone, who specializes in that. My specialty is really like people like Michelle. So the entrepreneurs, the people who are building businesses, high achievers, people who are writing personal development, self-help. I'm working on a fiction novel right now because of a connection that I have. So I have some fiction that I do edit. And I personally have never edited a children's book. If I can remember. No, I don't think I have. Not professionally. I've read stuff for friends and I've, given feedback and stuff like that. But it's just a different animal altogether. It's a completely different market. It's a different genre. It's got, it's not, they don't even live in the same house. You know what I mean? Like it's different. Yeah. But you are connected to people. So you could just, you like know the book world, like, which is amazing. So, well, I just love you. I wanted, if anybody needs to reach out to Lori, you have questions for her, I want to put your banner up here. It's facebook.com/Hey Lori Lynn is how you can get her. She's also my friend on Facebook. So if you just go find my friend, she's my friend on Facebook, you can find her. And the book that she helped me to edit is Do It Anyway, Girl. So if you go to doitanewaygirl.com, you'll see the link. And the ebook is out. The paperback is out. So crazy. She made it come to life and make me not look dumb. And I love you for that, my friend. You're just amazing. And I'm so glad everyone got to hear from you. I want to write a book about my life to encourage addicts, women, and abusive women. And so I just sit down and write. I would say yes. What do you say, Lori? Yeah, that's step 1. Remember, pre-writing. Writing, revising, editing, publishing. You got to get those ideas out of your head and onto the page, the physical page, the digital page, ideally, ultimately a digital page so that you can send it to an editor. But yeah, that's step 1 is just get it out of your head and out of your heart and onto the page. And if it's all coming from your head and none of it's coming from your heart, nobody wants to read it. So keep that in mind too. Yeah. My most memorable parts of my books are the stories. Like, you know what I mean? The facts I think are a little bit boring, but they remember the stories. So Shamika says she needs to reach out to you. Everyone loves you. Yeah. I mean, how do you not love her? She's so amazing. 25,000 words. That'll give you a spine. Yeah. That'll give you a spine. That's what this is right here. You'll be able to see the book title and the name if you have at least 25,000 words. Honestly, I wouldn't strive for less than 30. Because, you kind of have to stretch it with more white space and things like that. Yeah. But you actually have a lot of white space because you have a lot of bullets and a lot of exercises and a lot of different, prompts and things like that. But the average person or the average manuscript probably needs to have a baseline of 30. Good to know. Mine was 28,000, I think, if I remember correctly. And Amanda jumped on late. So Lori is the editor. She sent you to the formatter, and I got my design done at 99 designs. I'd say that one of the most important things that some people just skimp over is like, let me just throw a cover on it. And I just don't. Like, I literally think it is so important that if you're going to spend the time to write a book, make an outstanding cover. And so I went on 99 designs. I found a book cover designer. I forget, it was probably $300, but what it was a competition among like 100 people that all competed, and they would all send me and I would rank which ones I liked. And then we go back and we went back and went back. And so I found someone that like this, when I like, oh, that's what I wanted it to look like. But it took a while to get there. But 99 designs just get the cheapest
cover designer that he gave me the cover, the spine, and the back. He also gave me the ebook and the Audible. The Audible is a square. Ebook was I think the ebook is actually just this front cover, but 99 Design. So that's who I use. Is that who you recommend, Lori?
We actually, I have a team of people that I work with.
Okay.
And we provide every service. So we're a one-stop shop. And we do something very similar to 99 Designs, where we have a contest and you get to put those images in front of your audience and they get to choose. And then you find out from your audience which ones they like the best. And then it, creates excitement and it generates enthusiasm and anticipation about the book. And it just really helps the people who are going to read and then recommend your book to feel like they've been part of the process. And I know that you've taken your audience on a journey with you. Like, you didn't just write your book in a cave and then you're like, okay, hey, I wrote this book. You were like, having a dialogue about it all along the way. And I can't stress how critically important that is, that you did it well, but you're a professional at that, like that's just something you do naturally. You're like, hey, I'm doing this and come on this ride with me and we're on this journey together and it's so much fun. And so I think that's probably, your book is amazing, but the reach that it's had is because of who you are in being not only willing to take people along, but excited about taking people along. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 It's crazy. I didn't know what the average book, like I was Googling then and someone said to me, an average book only sells, I forget, was it 500 copies or makes $500, like something very low. And I was like, oh, we did that. And like right away. Like, so,
right.
Which is kind of interesting, but I guess it just speaks to like the importance of consistently showing up, which I've done for 7 years. And so sometimes you'll look at someone who's at this place, right? And I've done that before. I'm like, well, she's got 1 million followers. Well, guess what? She showed up a lot for a really long time. And so, never compare your day one to someone's like day, 800. So, yeah. So I love you, my friend. I appreciate you. So anyway, now you guys know the magic. She's the magic lady. And I just had to introduce her because I just love you so much. And I appreciate you. And I love how you are as a mom. And I follow you on Facebook and you're so real and likable. So you guys have to follow her. And I just appreciate you, my friend. And again, I'll just show your banner one last time. It is Lori Lynn is how you can find her on Facebook if you need to connect, or Hey, Lori Lynn. She's the book genius. All right. Well, thank you, my friend. Thanks for being on.
Aw, thank you for having me. You're such a delight.
Ah, I love you.
And one more plug for guys, you need to read this book. Like, you seriously, like, get it, rate it, review it, recommend it, have all of your friends read it. If you have anything in mind, or if you know anyone who wants to build a business, have them read this book. This is it right here. Do It Anyway, Girl by Michelle Cunningham. There we go. Right there. Isn't she beautiful?
There's even guys that have read it. That kind of made me laugh. They're like, it's actually really inspiring. I'm like, you're a dude.
So inspiring. It's so funny. Inspiring. And it's funny.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.